doctors are put on a pedestal. You know, they're treated like gods, and then they become gods. And Dowie Evans is definitely of a generation where doctors were, it's changing a bit now with the younger ones, but Dowie Evans is definitely of that generation where they're held in high esteem. And he's very he's very confident. He sounds absolutely as if he knows what he's talking about. Um, and it's just nonsense. One of his theories that I find quite fascinating is that Lucy injected air down a nasogastric tube, which initially he said was a cause of death. He's since retracted that and said, oh, no, it wasn't a cause of death, but it did destabilize the baby. Well, he is of the generation where a test used to be performed called the whoosh test. So the whoosh test is when you put a nasogastric tube down, there is a risk that instead of it going down the esophagus, it goes down the trachea. And obviously, you don't want to put fluids down the trachea because then effectively they're going into the lungs and you're drowning the patient. So before you put anything down that nasogastric tube, you have to ensure that it's in the correct position. In order to do that, you attach a syringe and you aspirate stomach contents because stomach contents test for acid. There's no acid in the lungs, but there is acid in the stomach. However, on occasions, you can't manage to get any stomach aspirates back. So what you used to do then was to listen over the stomach with a stethoscope as you inject air down the nasogastric tube, and you can hear the air gurgling in the stomach. And therefore, you know that the nasogastric tube is in the correct position and you're safe to put whatever medicine or food or whatever you require down that tube. Now, Dowie Evans is of an age where I would have money. He's done that hundreds of times. I've definitely injected air down a nasogastric tube thousands of times. It was deemed not to be good practice in approximately 2009, but it is still done under controlled situations such as endoscopies and so on to check the position and to see what happens. But nobody's ever talked about that. And I have never, in 30 odd years of nursing, seen a baby be destabilized because you've injected air down a nasogastric tube. If you put too much down, the baby will just burp. It also comes back up the tube. It's just nonsense what he said in court, that it would splint the diaphragm or destabilize the baby. Or initially, he actually said it would cause death, but he changed his mind a little while ago on that one. Babies burp, it goes into their tummies, it goes into their stomachs. I've never seen, this splinting of the diaphragm and stuff. It's just nonsense.